everybody, welcome to my channel for new battle report. So this is the second game of the Interregio 2022. As a reminder, we won the last game we capped, and now we're facing one of the strong team of the tournament, Bash, and I'm facing their Demon Legion player, who is Jose Paulo. He was playing at ETC with Team Portugal. This is my list as a reminder, and here you have my opponent's list. So he's playing, not something that you see a lot as a Demon Legion list. Basically has 3 big units, 2 units of 6 Bloodflies, 1 unit of Orders, a couple of smaller units, Eidolon with Magic and Aura of Despair, 2 pieces of Chaff, and then in core he has 2 medium units of Succubi and 1 small unit of Imps, and then 2 cheap characters. So he maximized the number of units that he can have. So it's not really an MSU because he has 3 big units that can fight also against bigger block. As you can see, these orders are really expensive. They are full option with mirrored scale and unnatural roots. So 3 quite strong units, not an MSU, but at the same time, not expensive character, cheap character that still provide decent magic. As you will see, has still a good amount of spells. We played Marching Column as Spoil of War. I decided to go with the following. I picked Frenzy. Savage Fury, I felt is a very strong spell in this matchup because I can easily Frenzy bait some of his units. He has no rerollable leadership on some unit, which I might take advantage of. As you can see on the right side, he has 2 times Hereditary, 1 time the small End of Heaven, I guess. Then he had Smite, he had the Breast Weapon, Reroll to Wound, and -1 Resilience and Leadership. Matchup analysis, so secondary seems easier to me. I felt in a 1-1 fight, I should be able to win with the Tribestar or the Mercvets against like 6 Flies or 6 Orders. Should be able to deal with them. I need to be careful about combo charges, including the Succubi. I know they are quite dangerous for my blocks, especially supported by magic. They can do a ton of attack. They can go before me. One of the units can even go before the Mercvet. So I need to really be careful about that because they can surprisingly do big damage on my blocks. First priority obviously is to get rid of Chaff, to get board control, get control of the movement, force him to move back, and claim the Spoil of War. My estimation of the matchup was a 14, so again, one of the good match that I had in the round, which I was quite happy to get. Deployment. Again, I forgot to take a picture at the deployment stage, but I will recap. I didn't move that much turn 1, so it's easy to figure out. But basically, he won the roll for side, gave me this side of the map. As you can see, the 3 spoil are here, so this side of the map makes slightly harder to go for this spoil. I decided to start, since it's Marching Column, I put a Giant on the left. He replied with a unit of Furies on the left. Then I put my Scrapling down here. He put his Succubi block. After what, I put my Frost Mammoth. The idea being I have 2 monsters against scoring unit, should be fine. And then his third drop was all the way here, the Sirens, indicating me that there will be nothing on the left. And I went for a quite conservative approach, putting some distance between him and me by putting the Mercvets here. A Giant, I think, started here and just marched all the way here. That's the Strength 7 Giant. Here I have Tribesman, my Tribestar, the Chaff piece. And then on my weak flank, I just put 1 unit of Bruisers and a Giant to be annoying. The idea with this deployment, we will analyze at the end if it was a good idea or not, but my idea with this deployment was since he has nothing here on the left, I can quickly get rid of the left flank and then try to go around impassable to get in a situation where I'm too strong here and in the middle end game I can claim this secondary and maybe fight. It's easier for me to fight one of these units if it's not face to face. So claim as soon as possible this spoil, get rid as soon as possible of this unit, and try to go around, put pressure, force him to retreat, and get the second spoil and get a comfortable win. That was the idea. His counter deployment, he went with this strong unit in the middle, so he put Orders, Flies, Imps in the back with 1 of the mages, second mage on the right with the Succubi unit. That was the one with Mesmerizing Plumage, I guess, and the one on the left was Chilling Yawn. And here he put his Eidolon, where I immediately see an opportunity for me to try to frenzy bait them on turn 1. So my turn 1, I moved, as you can see, so I started to move forward, but not that much. I don't know, this is maybe the indicator of the starting position. So as you can see, the Death Star didn't move that much. I wanted to have time to move forward with the Murkrats. Here already, I guess I could have moved more with the Murkrats because I don't have that great shooting target. My idea was to do some wounds on the Succubi, but as you can see, they are in the field, so it's -1 to hit, so it's only a couple of poison. Yeah, I can kill 2 or 3 Succubi to make the fight easier, but I could have already, like March 12, tried to be in a position where you can see the Giant and already closing the gap and maybe moving a bit more the Death Star to try as soon as possible to get this strong position here, protected by the Impassable, and make hard for him to engage, because if he wants to go against me, then it could be hard for him to avoid the counter charge, basically, because then he has not the space to chaff me properly. On the right flank, so here also I started to push, but not that much. I gave him a long charge. Here again, what I could have potentially done is using the board edge to minimize the contact on the front charge, basically making sure that I have good counters. I could have again angled this Giant looking that way to be sure that I have a counter charge. I was a bit afraid that he passes the lucky mark check, he is able to chaff 1 or 2 monsters, get rid of maybe my one of my Giant or something like that. So I didn't do it, but I felt here I could have maybe taken a more aggressive approach. We will see. In Magic Phase, he dispelled Totemic Summon, then I got the Frenzy spell on the Eidolon. They have only leadership, I guess, 7. So it will be a 7 maximize, and if they fail, they are going to crash into my Bruisers, which I would be really happy with, because that's a unit that is worth more than 300 points. It's mage, it's shooting attack, so that would be a perfect start for me. And the odds are is more likely to fail than succeed. Then I got some +1 resilience somewhere. Shooting attack, I killed 3 Succubi with my Murkrats, but again, I think the right choice here would have been to push more, to try to recover the ground that is between him and me, since I'm so far away from him, and I think I need the Murkrats to be in a strong position to be able to advance more with the Death Star. So I think here I could have moved those blocks more, both of them in a stronger position from turn 1, and force him to adjust and lose ground. I think I didn't want enough ground turn 1. His turn 1, so obviously he's taking a bit advantage of that by moving slightly forward, since we are still very far away from each other. Something that, like I said, I could have avoided. He failed the mark check with the chaff, so just moved slightly here. This unit of Succubi just moved sideways, didn't do much. Other than that, yeah, he repositioned his Eidolon to shoot at my Giant, look at me with Succubi, and put the flies in a position to also counter those guys. So basically, he's splitting a bit the forces. Half of the army, more than half of the army looking on the left, and a bit less than half looking on the right, which is something that I like early on, because it's some forces that are not pushing hard forward. He could have potentially used the flies to march as much as possible to get strong position here, and basically look at me with 3 units against the Death Star, since I didn't push enough. So I felt here he could have applied more pressure to me. In Magic Phase, yeah, I forgot to mention he passes the Frenzy check, obviously. In Magic Phase, Hand of Heaven did nothing on me, the small version. Then he got Hereditary that did 4 wounds to my Trispan Dart, and he got then 2 wounds off the Giant with the shooting attack from the Eidolon. My turn 2. Here again, multiple play possible. I decided then to push the Giant, since I had a position out of arc of those guys, and no matter what happened, I will have a line of sight on them, so I will be able to charge them. So basically I have one monster looking at them, another one looking this way, and then the Scrappling also looking the right way. So I felt okay with that. I decided here to push the Giant here. Second option would have been also to look at the Succubi, to tell him no matter what happened with the chaff, I will be able to charge you next turn. So I felt here looking that way didn't bring so much, I guess. Looked juicy because I look at the imps and so on, forcing him to react. But maybe the right move was to focus on the left and try to get rid of those guys. I'm already wasting time. We are on turn 2, not charging before turn 3. So this is taking, maybe I'm being a bit too conservative on the left. And I think it's not in my favor because he wants to delay what happened on the left, and I want to get rid of that as soon as possible, and I'm taking a bit too much time by being too conservative. The rest, yeah, starting to push more Death Star, trying to reform to be 3 wide, to be steadfast no matter what happened. Still looking at where he can push here. I don't want him going out of my arc. Moving a bit forward, leaving him with both long charges just to make sure it doesn't get both. Continue to move forward with the Merc Vets. This time, yeah, I moved 6 more or less. I think each round I did 6, but this takes time. Yeah, starting to look in the right direction. Here again, could have maybe pushed more. I think it's already too late to push a lot more, but still I think with 12 could have given him middle long charge with the orders. Then I need to angle the Death Star differently. I think it's already too late to push more with the Merc Vets. Should have done that turn 1. And other than that, yeah, I back off with the Giant, thinking shooting is going to hurt me. I cannot wait here so much longer, so I'm using the Impassable to get cover and moving back with the Bruisers for the moment. Trying to continue to delay him, to take him as much time as possible to deal with me. So a bit the same that he's doing on the top left. In the magic phase, I got Totemic Summon off. I got also Break the Spirit off on some flies. Shooting, and he dispels the Frenzy spell. Maybe I try to cast it on the chaff piece. I think so. And he dispelled that one. Shooting, I did 5 wounds to the flies, which is good. And I use Breath Weapon with who? This guy? No. Why? With Totemic Summon. I think I cast Totemic Summon here all the way back and Breath Weapon at the flies and at the Furies and kill only one. He's turn 2, so he uses his chaff piece to be in front of my Giant. I couldn't avoid that. Move forward with the Sukubai, and here I'm in a position like I mentioned before. I can only charge with the Frosty, and maybe those guys, we'll see what I can do, uses the chaff to be in front of me and push, put the flies to punish me. Like I mentioned, if this guy was looking that way, then he needed to chaff all the way here, and I could still more take advantage of that. So I think here the right play was looking the other way around, even if it's not so intuitive. Yeah, what happened next? Just rearrange his unit. So he uses one the unit of the flies to protect his backline, which I think is a smart move, because it's already enough with 2 units to protect the middle for the moment. Those guys, yeah, still pushing a bit forward. Same for the Eidolon that's going to shoot at my Bruisers. In Magic Phase, he's going to get End of Heaven, do 2 wounds to my Bruisers, and I think some shooting on my Bruisers as well, but didn't do that much. I think I passes a couple of armor save. My turn 3. So I debated whether or not I should charge with the Frosty against Sukubai. He has no magic on him. Again, I think I could have done it. I decided to go for a more patient move, which at the end is costing me time again. So I played it. I tried to play it smart, so I minimized the contact with the Frosty in case he charged me, and reformed those guys 10 wide to get 40 shots at the Sukubai to reduce them before combat. But I don't think it's again, I'm losing time on a precious part of the board. And I think here the right play was to charge the Frosty. Here I charge the chaff, reposition him because I don't want to get charged by the fly, so I'm looking the middle. And I'm able to push against 6 with the Merc Vets, but here again, taking time, not moving as fast as possible with the Death Star that is still a bit far away to get on the token next round. So here I think I needed a more solid battle line, and yeah, my plan is to bring the chaff a bit forward. Maybe this Giant can chaff next turn and so on. But again, not too happy about the time I'm taking to take the middle, and here on the left wasting time as well. Here I'm trying to frenzy bait again, thinking I lost already 2 wounds, maybe I can fail a panic next round, so let's try again the frenzy check, reposition the Giant as well, since I'm trying to frenzy him and I have 2 targets in range. Let's start as well to continue to threaten him on the right flank. Magic Phase, I get Totemic Summon off, he dispelled the he dispelled the Frenzy, obviously. Shooting, I will kill 3 Sukubai with my throwing weapon. But again, it doesn't bring that much. I do 3 wounds to the flies, to this unit of flies. and the totemic's going to be right here and using the breast weapon on them, I guess. Not that crazy. Basically, I cast totemic here in the perspective of a potential fight in a 2-in-1 configuration against Scuba with totemic and the giant together, which I feel could be possible if I'm not losing more wound in the next round, which is not going to happen as long as these guys are here. So we will see. And obviously those guys were out of line of sight of them. Close combat, I get rid of the chaff, reposition. As you can see here, my totemic tried to impact the chaff, but I rolled really poorly, and he will be able to just charge me with the flies. And again, I'm not looking with enough units to really punish that position. Potentially, I cannot go with 2 monsters because this guy is looking that way for nothing, let's say. Turn 3, I attempted the charge against my totemic, but failed that one. Okay. Turn around those guys to face him, I guess. Or was he looking that way? I don't remember where he was looking. To be honest, I think he's looking that way towards the Merc-Vets. Those guys start to backing off the middle. Yeah, he's backing a bit on the right, taking time to manage my units, keeping safe distance to shoot, and protected from the totemic summon with those succubi. In the magic phase, he got... it was a charge on a 9 for the flies, by the way. He got, I think he failed the march maybe on this chaff to do something better, to chaff me in the middle or something like that. And then he failed Spectral Blade, he got Hereditary, did 2 wounds on my bruisers, another Hand of Heaven did 3 wounds to my bruisers, so they're already dead, almost dead. And with shooting he did some other wounds. I think they are alive on 1 wound at this point of time, basically. My turn 4, let's see what I will do. So I'm continuing to moving. I took the charge on the left with this giant, I think in the front. Decided against to charge with those 2 guys because he could see me, so I went just out of line of sight with those 2 guys, moving the scrappling on the token, so it's finally time. But as you can see, I took so much time to get rid of them. Charge with the totemic against the chaff, and those 2 guys are out of line of sight looking at them. So in case he attempt to charge me on a long charge, I could counter charge with those guys. Yeah, here pushing 6 again, moving the Death Star forward, but I would have needed to march to be on the token, and I didn't feel comfortable to be charged by those 2 units because I would rely a lot on what happened with the Great Khan, and I didn't feel it was already possible. I felt I bring my chaff forward, bring those guys forward, and next round I can chaff the orders, be on the token, and take it turn 6. So that's the game plan. Here on the right, I continue to threaten him with the giant, the lone guy with 2 wounds left, so still, yeah, move all the way here, still half point, move him all the way back. And then let's move to shooting. I got Hereditary on my totem, which is a key spell because the totem is wounded on a 6-up, so I felt this is key to get rid of those guys, which could be very important for the 2 remaining turn. After that, I got +1 resilience on something, maybe on the giant in case he attempts the long charge, I don't know. And then shooting, I did a couple of 4 wounds to the flies, to the other fly unit, so yeah, it's not making that much, to be honest. It's not that important. I didn't have a clean shot with all models on the imps, that's why I decided to shoot at the flies. Close combat, I got rid of all those guys. Think he didn't do much because of resilience 5. I did breast weapon, all the attack stomps and so on. He's not here anymore. And the totemic summon bounced. I think 0 and he did 0, or we did 1 both, or maybe I think I did 1 and he did 2, and that's why it was a tie. So very disappointed here. His turn 4 is going to attempt, to my surprise, the long charge with the flies against my giant in the flank. It's an 11. He failed that charge, so I ended up here. But let's be honest, even if he gets it, I had 2 counter charge ready, so he could potentially overrun to those guys, but I would, no matter what, I would see with the 2 monsters. So I didn't feel this is great to take for him, to be honest. So here we're still stuck in combat. So he failed charge here, moved back with those units. And that's a bit the point where he took his time out and we realized that we're not going to make a turn 6. Here again, time management wise, I should have been more careful to that. Didn't watch too much the time and how much time left we have. And basically I see him talking during his timeout and saying that we're not going to make turn 6, which is obviously a huge difference for me, because as you can see, next round my plan was to move on the middle, chaff him and so on, and now because 5 is going to be last turn, he just had to retreat and not give me anything for free. If there is a turn 6, basically he has at least to sacrifice something in the middle to try to avoid me getting the point for free. So bit disappointed, but I think it's also my mistake. Should have been more careful to time. I'm not used to not make 6 turn. That's a long time since I haven't finished turn 5. So that I have finished turn 5. Sorry. So yeah, was a bit of an unpleasant surprise. And here close combat is going to kill my totemic summon, so even with hereditary, just roll poorly and he got rid of me. Let's move on, my turn 5, and yeah, I took my timeout for the charge because I had nothing to do with the timeout, but basically we decided it was a good idea to try to go for the points. I had a 6 Swift Ride and a 4. The only risk for me was to fail the giant and get the Frosty alone that would most likely die in exchange for nothing. But the odds were quite in my favor, so we decided to go for it. Here I took the token, reposition those guys since nothing more will happen. Push with giant to try to burst weapon at the remaining 4 chaff piece. I hide my giant with 2 wounds left. I lost 3 wounds last round. He's hidden as well. And then magic phase. I think I'm going to buff the combat basically. I'm going to get some buffs on the combat. Here we try to play fast because we didn't have much time left, but basically what's going to happen is I'm going on the first round. As you can see, did 4 wounds to my Frosty and 2 wounds to the giant. I did like 8 wounds and he did 7 to me, which is still quite good. So basically what happened, we discussed that you get half point for the Frosty, I get all the flies, and he finishes the bruises with the magic that he has left and the shooting that he has left. And obviously I put more than 6 inches between those two. And that's it basically for the game. So yeah, a bit disappointed. So I got 1278 and he got 370, which is a 13-7 since I didn't get the secondary objective. Again, I think I should have paid more attention to the time. I'm usually finishing my game, so, and also I must say Interregio was a bit more relaxed mood, so I didn't pay too much attention to that, but I should have been, and basically pushing because I think it was definitely possible to make 6 turn, or at least try to see how it goes. And as you can see, I have after that quite good opportunities because no matter what, so there is just to see if he kills fully the Frost or get half point or did nothing. We basically make the simulation of half the scenario, but as you can see next round I can get rid of some unit here. I had things to do. Yeah, so a bit disappointed about that, but that's also my fault like I mentioned. Okay, very interesting to analyze for me was the macro level. I felt after seeing the pictures and the strengths on the table, I was way too conservative with my deployment. I will show you after on the picture what I should have done. I took too long to get rid of succubis on the left, again being too conservative. I could have taken some more risk with one of the monsters. Could have charged with the Frosty. I could have done plenty of things differently to get rid of the succubi turn 2, or at least I think the latest point in the game is turn 3, but I took them way too late in the game and basically this cost me much. Mercvet should have pushed more turn 1. That's definitely, I think, the right decision was to push 12 turn 1 and claim this board control that you get when starting on this type of game, which I didn't take enough advantage of. Frenzy Bait didn't pay off. I was quite excited after turn 1. If I get rid of the Eidolon, I think it's a different right flank, because then my giant is in a position to maybe go for it against the Succubi. Which is not a bad combat. He has only one character with 4 strength 5 attack, but the rest not that bad. So definitely that was I think a turning point in the game on the right flank. Long charge attempt cost a Demon Legion a flies block. Because of the failed charge I was able to combo charge that way. Totemic Summon Pain for Chaff with the Breast Weapon, but as you saw in the update, that's over now. And yeah, failing to play 6 turn hurt my game plan. But I think to take the objective sooner was possible by playing better. So no matter what, I think I didn't play that good. I just played too conservative, and at the end it is costing me and my team points, which is something I don't like. What I could have and should have done. So let's take into account the first 2 drop on the left are like we make. So I do Giants, Scraplings, I do Furies, and then Sukubai. Then I don't put down the Frosty, but something more like Bruisers, or maybe even a Giant. We can debate about which one, but a Giant or Bruisers. Most likely he do something similar, since I put the Frosty here, so I could have maybe put Giant here to do something similar and expect the same from him. Then I can put either Bruisers or Giant here to have some scoring in the right spot. Then we go with Death Star here to be in a strong position, still quite far away from the Sukubai, threatening the flank. Not in the ruin that can push freely towards the middle, protected a bit by the Impassable. And 3 wide, they are more in a position to push than the Merc Vets that cannot play on the Steadfast. So I think here the right play would have been the Death Star here, 3 wide, pushing forward, turn 1, pushing quite a lot, maybe like 10 inch, giving him middle long charge with a good counter charge option that he cannot chaff. And basically if I have that situation, he cannot charge me, no way. Tribesman here, Frost Mammoth here, and then all the way back the Giant. Basically this puts me, obviously he would have maybe rearranged stuff, not do the same, most likely maybe putting a Flies unit here on the right to deal with my monsters, so he could have done things differently, definitely, but he needs a scoring unit for this one. Most likely the Sukubai stays somewhere here. So I think what I missed in this game is to, after the first 2 drops, to try to visualize a bit more what he might do. And definitely at least after the 3 drops, I should have been thinking more about what he's going to do. And basically, face to face, I'm not afraid of his unit in a 1-1 situation like I mentioned before. And I think here, by being too conservative, this cost me at the end quite a lot. So I think a more open deployment like that would have been way better for me. And also having the option, I don't know if I need to put a scoring unit here on the right or not. We can debate about that. Maybe putting some Bruisers to try to play for the 3. It's even possible to say put Giant here and the 3 Bruisers go all the way here, and then I have scoring unit everywhere to have the potential to get all of them. Why not? That's also, I think, a valid option. What happened in the round? Unfortunately, we lost by 1 point. So as you can see, the point that I didn't get matter at the end. So basically we got 4 wins, 12, 12, 13 and 16, and 2 big losses, a 2 and a 4, and all of that together we lost by 1 point, which is a big disappointment for us. We had the feeling that we needed to win that round. That's also an important step for us in the tournament, so definitely disappointment. Some complicated games, some games that didn't went as expected, and some good performance as well. We can mention, for example, Paul winning against Joss, that is a very good player, also played for Portugal at ETC. So some good performance, but at the end, and also Andy making a very good game again. But at the end, losing by 1 point in this game is not good for us for the rest of the tournament, because it's going fast. There is a lot of team, and we know that losing ground at this point of time is a bit of an issue. So guys, that's all for this turn 2. I hope you liked the battle report. Very interesting for me to analyze, because that's typically the type of game where you could think, yeah, 13 is not that bad. I mean, no risk taken. It's fine and so on. But when you see again the pictures, it's interesting to see what you could have done potentially. It's always trying to play for the max point that you could or should get without taking too much risk. You know my approach. I'm not the guy that's taking crazy risk. But still here, there was a lot of room to get more points. Definitely in the matchup, by playing better on the deployments on the macro level, and then on the game plan by being less conservative at some point without increasing the risk. It's just about choices, but it's not that I would have given him charges that could have been game breaking and so on. Not at all. It's not taking more risk, but it's just playing better, especially in the early stages, would have put me in a better position. I think left flank, turn 1, 2, 3 wasn't played that good, that optimal, so to say, was playing too conservative, and then with the Merc Vets turn 1, I think that's maybe if I could have changed one move, it would have been to march the Merc Vet turn 1. I think that's the key move that changed the whole situation about the point in the middle. I think that's the one that would have allowed me to get on the spoil on turn 4 and get the secondary. So I think that was maybe the key mistake that I made, and that's the type of mistake that when we realize it's already too late. You cannot do that the next round, the next turn. So definitely a bit disappointed about that, but some nice lesson to learn, and it's always the type of battle report that I love, because there is plenty to learn for me, myself as well, and not only for you. Guys, thanks a lot for watching, and talk to you soon on the channel for the third battle report. Bye.